everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to another video in here. So, um, what I'm going to talk about has something to do with foundations. Now, I have been watching one of my earlier videos last year, and last year in that video, I was talking about the year 2020 and how reduced to a single digit 2020 would be reduced into a 4, and 4 means foundation. Okay, now when I made that video, the pandemic still had not set in. Okay, but does that change? Does that change the factor that last year was supposed to be something about our foundations? Now, now here the question is: did it build your foundation, or did it altogether destroy your foundation? You would know. Okay. Now, I am not trying to belittle or trivialize whatever it is that you have been through. I know that everyone has been through one thing or the other, and very drastic changes in our lives. And in here also, I'm not talking about a global sense. Okay. As with all of my videos, this is more this video, like other videos, is more of um to, to to try to make you reflect on how your foundations were influenced by everything that has happened last year, especially with the pandemic setting in. Okay, so there. Well, hopefully, you would get ways and clues and perspectives on how to see things a little bit better if for example you thought that everything has been destroyed last year for you. Okay, now before I go into detail about what I want to convey to you and discuss with you, I would just like to share with you a story. We know that everyone likes stories, and me included. Please forgive the dogs, the distractions. But anyway, in here, okay, so let me just go to the story. Now, what I would like to tell to you now is something that happened in college. Okay, so I was in the College of Engineering, and then in one of our subjects, in which was mechanical engineering, it wasn't my major, but we had a subject in industrial engineering. We had a subject called mechanical engineering, okay, laboratory. And in there, it was actually fun because I had the experience of working with lathe machines and also welding machines. And I'm going to talk about a certain project that I had using a welding machine. Now, there was this project that we had where we had to make a grill, okay, the common grill. Now, this was made out of several rods that you had to form into a rectangle and put the rods parallel to each other, forming a grill. And then you had to weld all the corners and the connections. Okay, so I did that. And then at the end, you have your grill. Now, how the teacher would test the grill was he would raise it up in the air and try to smash it on the floor. Okay, and that was no joke because those those of you who were my classmates before and experienced that know that many of the teachers in that subject were kind of muscular and burly in there. And then and then of course, well, it was my first time to do that, and and I was a girl, so I wasn't sure if I did a good job, but I tried to follow everything by the book. So I did the best I could. So anyway, you would just imagine how when your baby project would be raised up in the air and try to smash on the floor, and then you could almost feel it quivering from the impact of the fall. But well, luckily, in short, my grill survived, and I was able to bring it home, and we used it for the remaining for the next couple of years. Okay, it had fun after that impact. Okay, now what am I trying to say in here? What did the pandemic do to our situations, to our foundation specifically? Did it build our foundation, or did it destroy our foundation? Now I know that most of us have had our foundations already. We had a set job, um, work situation last year, which might have changed, or we might have stayed in the same job. There were also relationships, different kinds of relationship situations, families, friendships, or different connections that you've had where that was your recognized foundation already. Okay? And then all of a sudden the pandemic happened. And then what happened? What happened? Was everything totally destroyed, or were some parts destroyed, or or what? What really happened? Now, if you ask me, if anything, and in relation to foundations, everything that happened to us last year on an individual level was just there, like my project, to test our foundation. Okay? Everything that you try to build, sometimes it fell apart. And I have heard stories from those who have lost their jobs, or says changes have happened to them, that yes, for example, they were in a job for a very long time, but that job was toxic for them, it was not healthy for them, and suddenly they were out of the job. Okay? So in that sense, I think I think in that sense, if what you were in what you were trying to establish with, or what was already established, is not so healthy for you anymore, or if it is toxic for you, then if it fell apart, maybe it had to fall apart, because you cannot build a foundation based on something that's toxic or rusting inside, or trying is looks fine on the outside but is decaying inside. Eventually it would fall apart. Okay? And I've also heard of experiences where, one of the things that I talked about in my video last year about 2020 was also having a 2020 vision, so clear vision. Okay, so I think what happened to a lot of us last year was we came face to face to ourselves, with ourselves, and asked ourselves a basic question: are we happy? Is this the kind of life, or is this the kind of situation I would like to be in for the rest of my life? Am I happy? Okay, am I happy here? There. So going down to the very core of ourselves and being really honest with ourselves, because I have also heard of some people I know also who, were probably caught up in this toxic cycle also, and probably they couldn't figure things out for themselves, and by doing such, by some attitudes that they were trying to display, they were hurting those around them. And I've heard of two of them who suddenly, you know suddenly, and you could also call it sometimes miraculously, they changed the way they were behaving, thus contributing to a healthier environment around them. So there. So well, if you've been with me in this channel for a long time already, you would know that I am, in a way, I'm almost always optimistic about everything else. So it depends on how you really look at what your experiences were. Okay, but one thing that I am trying to say in here is that the foundations that we were building, if there were parts of them that collapsed, they were probably meant to collapse. Because we're talking about foundations here, we're not talking about a decoration or an accessory. We're talking about where you're building things from. Okay, where you're building your work from, where you're building your relationship from, where you are building your life on, actually. Okay, it has to be sturdy, it has to be standing the test of time. So everything that falls apart maybe has to get back up by themselves, or maybe they were not just part of your foundation. But anything that is really a part of your foundation at the very core would be staying with you, or would be coming back, and would be coming back strong. Okay, so there. So I guess right now I would just like to ask you to reflect a little bit on what has happened last year. What have you lost, but also what have you lost, but what have you gained in the process? And I am hoping that somehow you came out victorious, with everything that you have gained from all your experiences also. And speaking of foundations, also the smallest unit in society are families. No, now last year was all about family, staying with family and spending more time with family. And I guess in a general sense, in a bigger sense, that is so beneficial in the world that we are trying to have. You know, strengthening the core family unit so that, well, we can build upon that, and then we could influence our greater surroundings too. Okay, so there. So guys, I hope I was able to give you a grain of insight in here, as I always endeavor to do. Okay, so until next video, continue building on your foundations, and God bless in everything. Okay, so until next time, this is just me, Alvie, saying find your strength, find your peace, and stay with God, whatever you consider Him to be. He loves you so much. Bye bye.